Hello again, I am Blunty. This is the beta for Monster Hunter Wilds, and for the most part of this video, I'm just going to let the gameplay speak for itself. What I've got for you, though, is some side-by-side comparisons of the game on PC, on Xbox One X, and PlayStation 5. And the short version, the takeaway message here is, if you do not have a fairly decent gaming PC, and I do mean fairly decent as a pretty hardcore gaming enthusiast would consider fairly decent, PS5 is probably your best bet as far as console versions go outside of that. Reminder, this is beta stuff. The code that this beta is built from is probably something like 6 months behind what will be the state of the code at launch in February, and things may and will change. I hope they change significantly, but right now this is simply the best information we have to work from, so that's what we're doing. So, I've already shown you some side-by-side of quality mode versus frame rate mode from the PS5 in a dedicated video already. So if you want a closer look at that, I'll link that down below for you. But now that we've got the multi-platform beta up and running, the Xbox version is visually quite similar in its two modes. However, the Xbox version also performs much worse in either mode. The frame pacing is a catastrophe right now. It is so bad that I struggle to call it playable. Monster Hunter is a game of precision, and the Xbox performance in either mode is so inconsistent, so juddery. I found it just incredibly difficult to simply play properly at all, and I was getting heavily punished for it. I miss openings, I miss dodges, I miss timed counters. You just can't play it properly like this. On the PC side of things, the game can look extremely nice. The settings I am using here are basically everything maxed out as far as it'll go. This is the best the game can look almost, and I'm running at 4K. However, I said almost because the performance is horrendous on PC. I'm running a 7700X CPU and an RX 7900 XTX graphics card, and that combination should by all rights make a light lunch out of a game with, well, this level of graphics. But no, despite spending literally 2 hours fiddling with settings, live on stream no less, trying to find a combination that would lock me in at 60 FPS, literally, no matter what I did, nothing worked. Something here is broken. There are settings I was changing that I know for a fact noticeably affect frame rate performance on Rise, which is based on the same game engine, and they were doing nothing in this game. Like, I could visually see the changes, but the frame rate didn't move at all. Something here is really, really wrong. In any case, I gave up on chasing a 60 FPS lock and instead tied it down to 45 FPS. And here I could get a basically rock solid reliable frame rate and frame pacing, making the combat feel really fluid. Extremely reliable frame rate for this game is far more preferable than just reaching that 60 at any cost. And I made one compromise to get there, basically. After locking the frame rate to 45, I engaged FSR 3.0 at the quality setting. So what that basically means is we're rendering internally at 1440p and FSR upscales that to 4K. Thankfully, FSR 3.0 is a lot better than its predecessors, so visually it is still very clean. You also might want to try the Intel scaler, which is also in this game. It is a little bit cleaner, but also a little bit softer under some circumstances. Do the comparison for yourself, see which one you like better. I came down on the side of FSR 3.0 for this game. It is frustrating, frankly, that I can't get 60 FPS even on this rig. But then again, 45 feels really nice, so acceptable compromise in order to keep the obviously superior visual fidelity on offer in the maxed out settings. However, no matter how tempted you are, please do not engage frame generation on PC. The game prompts you to do so when you install the damn thing. It says, hey, would you like to turn frame generation on? Don't. Do not do it. Do not do it. I tried it out of curiosity, and the input lag it generates is severe. It made me viscerally furious at Capcom for suggesting this feature should be active in their so-called recommended settings. Absolutely not. This kind of input lag is detrimental to everything Monster Hunter is and should be. It is revolting that Capcom would encourage its use in this game. There is no way, I think, that this wasn't an extremely heated argument in a room somewhere where the devs were up against some grey-faced marketing twerp, and unfortunately the marketing twerp won. Somehow. I feel a great swell of empathy for the developers who lost that argument. But yeah, the PC is your ideal choice, of course, if you can run it at least 45 FPS capped with high or ultra settings in your monitor's native resolution. Otherwise, my advice is, if you've got the consoles, the PS5 version is the next best one. It's not as clean as PC, obviously, even in its graphics priority mode, but it is at least smoothly playable at its reliable 30 FPS cap. The Xbox version is just burning garbage right now and desperately needs work. It cannot launch in this state. But that goes generally across all the versions, actually, that they can't launch like this because unless a remarkable amount of optimization comes in the last mile of development, the performance issues are going to dominate the media coverage and headlines at launch of this game, detracting from what is otherwise a superb game. The conversation is just going to be about the performance and nothing else good about the game. Then again, Monster Hunter World was also a performance disaster on consoles at its own launch, struggling to get to 30 even on the PlayStation 4 and lurching around at 25 FPS at some places. It was awful. And people still went nuts for it, and you know, it's the best-selling game Capcom have ever had. So maybe it's time for Capcom to be taught a lesson. Or continue to be taught, I guess, because Dragon's Dogma 2 had its own issues with performance, which blanketed media coverage at its own launch recently, no doubt severely harming sales for it as well. I'm pretty sure Capcom don't want a repeat of that with this, their flagship game, their best-selling series. So, fingers crossed, things dramatically change before launch. But yeah, that's all I've got to comment on right now. I'll just leave whatever footage I've got remaining to play out for you. Thank you for watching. I'm Bloody. Catch you next time. Thank you, as always, to the patrons who will scroll at the end.
Over here, Bub. I'm your target.